Welcome to today's session in physics. Today we are going to discuss a few problems, one example question and four exercise questions we are going to discuss. Okay, and these questions are from Coulomb's law and principle of superposition. Okay, so first let's discuss that example question, that is example 1-7. Let's go through the question first. Consider the three charges Q, Q and minus Q placed at the vertices of an equilateral triangle as shown in figure. What is the force on each charge? We are asked to find the force on each charge. So this is how the charges are given. It's given the triangle is an equilateral triangle. So we take the length of each side to be L. Okay, and at the vertices of each each vertices or each vertex charges are kept. At A it is Q, B it is Q, and at C it is minus Q. If so, you're asked to find the force on each charge. That is the question. So you're asked to find the force on each charge means you have to find both magnitude and direction of the force. Okay, so here we have to use both Coulomb's law and principle of superposition. So let's consider the charge at A first. So the forces acting on the charge at A are FAB and FAC. FAB is the force due to the charge at B, and that is a repulsive force. That is why the direction is like this. Similarly, the force on A due to the charge at C is FAC, and that is directed towards C because it is a negative charge. So a repulsive force will be there. Attractive force will be there. So the two forces acting on the charge at A are like this. So in the same way, if we show the charges at B and C, at B due to the charge at A, the force will be again repulsive force because the two charges are like charges. So we can represent that force like this, and we can call that force as FBA, force on B due to A. Similarly, force exerted by the charge at C on the charge at B will be an attractive force that will be directed towards C. So that we will represent as FBC. So this is the direction of FBC. Now on the two charges we have marked the forces. Now coming to the charge at C. The charge at C is negative charge. So these two charges, they will be attracting that charge. So on this charge C, the two forces will be attractive force and the direction will be like this. So this force we can write as FCA, that is force on the charge at C due to A, and this force as FCB, that is force on the charge at C due to the charge at B. So these are the forces acting on the three charges. Now what we want to find is find the net force on each charge. Okay, we'll find the net force on each charge. Let's start from this B onwards. Okay, so these two are the forces acting on this charge. So how to find the vector sum? So two forces are acting, and what about this angle? It's already given this is an equilateral triangle. So this angle will be 60 degree. So obviously this angle will be 120 degree. Okay. So these two vectors, they are inclined at an angle 120 degree. Now here what we can do is you can apply parallelogram law of vector addition. So by using parallelogram law, you can find both magnitude and direction. So in order to apply parallelogram law, we have to complete the parallelogram and draw the diagonal. So parallelogram is completed and draw the diagonal. So this diagonal represents the net force acting on B, that is FB. So the net force acting on B is FB. Its magnitude and direction we need to find. That's all. Okay, so if we find the magnitude and direction of FB, that is the direction and magnitude of force acting on the charge at B. Okay, so how will we find? So for that, we should find the magnitudes of FBA and FBC. Due to, means what are the magnitudes of FBA and FBC? That we need to find first. So first let's find FBC. What is FBC? Not vector, only magnitude. FBC is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. The two charges FBC, it is the two charges are Q and Q, minus, no need of considering minus because that we already considered in direction. So Q square divided by the distance between them, it is L. So Q square by L square, that is FBC. If we write the expression for FBA, that also comes like 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q square by L square. It means that both FBC and FBA are of same magnitude. The two forces are of same magnitude and they are inclined at an angle 120 degree. So if we use this parallelogram law, we will easily get what is the magnitude of the resultant. Okay, so let's call this FBC, FBA as F. For easiness in doing calculation, let's call it as F. So what is this F actually? 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q square by L square. That's what we mean by F. Okay. Now, how will we find the resultant? So this FB, the magnitude of the resultant force, that is FB, that is equal to, you know, parallelogram law, that is root of A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta. Last year we have studied where A and B are magnitudes of the two vectors inclined at an angle theta. Here theta is 120 degree. So A and B are what? FBA and FBC. Both are of magnitude F. So very easy calculation. So root of F square plus F square plus 2F into F. Again F square into cos 120. Cos 120 is minus half. So we have root of F square plus F square plus 2F square into minus 1 by 2. So after doing calculation, what we will get is root of F square plus F square, that is 2F square minus 2F square into 1 by 2. So it is F square. So root of 2F square minus F square, it is root F square, that is equal to F. So the thing is this, the resultant magnitude, that is FB, the magnitude of the resultant force is equal to F. What is that F? 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q square by L square. So this is the magnitude of force acting on the charge at B. Okay, so magnitude we got. Now what will be the direction? What will be the direction? So direction, how will we state the direction? You can speak about the direction in terms of angle. Okay, either the angle made by this FB with the FBA or with the FBC. So the thing is this, here the angle between FBC and FBA is 120 degree and both FBA and FBC are of equal magnitude. So the thing is this, if theta is the angle between two identical vectors or two equal vectors means two vectors of equal magnitude. If theta is the angle between two vectors of equal magnitude, okay, their resultant will make an angle theta by 2 with either of the individual vectors. That means here if the angle between FBA and FBC is 120 degree, this FB, the resultant, will make an angle 120 by 2, that is 60 degree with the FBC and with the FBA. Okay, so that angle made by the resultant will be the same with either of the individual vectors. Got it? So here the angle made by vector FB with the FBC or FBA is what? 60 degree. So with that, one part of the question is answered. That is, the resultant force F that is FB, acting on the charge at B is having a magnitude 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q square by L square, and its direction is in such a way that it makes an angle 60 degree with FBC or FBA. Okay, so one part is over. In same way, we have to proceed in the case of A also, charge at A. So the thing is this, both A and B are of what similar position, or same way or identical way the forces are acting on the charges at A and B. Okay, so here the resultant force you will get by drawing the parallelogram, completing the parallelogram and drawing the diagonal. So this is the net force, and that net force, let's mark it as FA. So the net force acting on the charge at A is FA. Here also the angle between these two vectors are inclined at an angle 120 degree. Same way, whatever we spoke there, no, same way we can find the net force in the case of A also. So the thing is this, when we find the magnitudes of FAB and FAC, again we will get the same thing, because all the three charges are of same value. The only difference is in sign, and the separation also between the two charges, any two charges, the separation also is same, L. So there won't be any change in finding FAB or FAC, no change. It will be F itself. So the same answer as we got in the case of charge at B, will be getting the charge at A also. So net force acting on the charge at A is directed in this direction that you have to show in the diagram, and that FA will be making an angle 60 degree with either FAC or FAB, by the same reason as we stated earlier. And the FA will be equal to what? The magnitude of FA will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q square by L square. So in the case of A and B, the two forces are acting, that means net forces are acting in the same way. So you can mark in the diagram, and with the proper explanation your answer becomes complete. Now what we are left is with charge at C. Charge at C is acted upon by two forces, that is FCA and FCB. These are the two forces. Now let's think about the magnitude, their magnitudes. Their magnitudes also will be like this itself. That is, if we write F, so I am rubbing this. So if we write FCA and FCB, both will be of same magnitude. FCA and FCB, same magnitude we have. Now what about the angle between the two? Unlike the previous cases, here the angle between the two is 60 degree. So here we need to find the resultant using parallelogram law. So that is FC, resultant force FC is equal to root of F square plus 2F square cos 60 will be the resultant force. Cos 60 is 1 by 2. So root 2F square plus 2F square into 1 by 2. 2 get cancelled. So here you will get root of 3F square, which is the same as root 3F. So force on the charge at C has a magnitude root 3F, where F is 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q square by L square. So this is the magnitude of force acting on the charge at C. Okay. Now what about direction? To get the direction, we have to complete the parallelogram. Okay. So complete the parallelogram. So this is the parallelogram. Then draw the diagonal. So this is the direction what we get. Downwards like this we will get the direction, and that is what? Vector FC, and that vector FC is of magnitude what? Root 3F. That's what we got now. Now what about the angle? That means direction. So if this total angle is 60 degree, this resultant will be making an angle 30 degree with either of FCA and FCB. So here that angle will be 30 degree. Angle will be 30 degree. Here it was 60 degree. That angle 60 degree. Here that angle is 30 degree. So this is the answer to that question. So it's a lengthy one. You have to apply that Coulomb's law and principle of superposition. So we have marked the three forces and we have written the values of FA, FB and FC. Both FA and FB are of same value or magnitude, that is F. And FC is of magnitude root 3F. That's the case. Okay, so with that problem, that is example 1.7 is over. Now we move on to exercise question. So now we discuss exercises. Question number 1.6. Let's go through the question first. 4-point charges QA equal to 2 microcoulomb, QB equal to minus 5 microcoulomb, QC equal to 2 microcoulomb and QD equal to minus 5 microcoulomb are located at the corners of a square ABCD of side 10 centimeter. What is the force on a charge 1 microcoulomb placed at the center of the square? That is the question. So the square, you have the name. You can call the vertices as A, B, C, D, and the 4 charges QA, QB, QC, QD are located as shown. So at A 2 microcoulomb, at B minus 5 microcoulomb, at C again 2 microcoulomb and at D minus 5 microcoulomb. And at the center here means what? The point of intersection of the two diagonals. So at that point, another charge is there, that is 1 microcoulomb. You're asked to find what is the net force acting on that 1 microcoulomb. So we will find that net force. So to find the net force, first of all, we will discuss what are the individual forces, means the forces exerted by these 4 charges. So first we will represent that force and we will write their magnitude also. Okay, force at O will be the vector sum of forces due to the charges at A, B and C. So force at O due to the charge at A, see both 2 microcoulomb and 1 microcoulomb, they are positive. So the force will be of repulsion. So due to the charge at A, the force on AO will be of repulsion. So repels it. So the force, it is acting in this direction. So this is what? FOA. So FOA means what? Force on O due to A. Similarly, when we think about the force due to the charge at B, see this is negative charge, this is positive charge. So it will be attracting. Unlike charges attract each other. So B will attract the charge at O. So that force will be acting in this direction and that is FOB. So that FOB is in that direction. Now coming to the charge at C. At C you have 2 microcoulomb. The 2 microcoulomb, it is positive. So again it repels this 1 microcoulomb. So that repulsive force, no, it will be acting in this direction. So FOC is in this direction. Now coming to the last one, that is D, minus negative charge it is. So the force will be of attraction. So this O is attracted towards this D and that force we write as FOD. So now these are the 4 forces acting on the charge at center. Now we need to find the sum. So here finding vector sum is very easy because two forces are opposite in direction. So it's enough to find their resultant first, then add the resultant of the pairs. Okay, so first let's find what about FOC and FOA. So when we find the magnitudes of FOC and FOA, FOC is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 into Q1 Q2. Q1 Q2, it is 2 into 1. Microcoulomb. Micro stands for 10 raised to minus 6. So 10 raised to minus 12. Divided by that distance becomes what? 10 centimeter is the side length. If the side length is 10 centimeter, diagonal length will be equal to what? 10 root 2. Okay, a root 2, like that it will be 10 root 2 centimeter. So half the diagonal will be that distance. So it will be 10 root 2 by 2, or it will be 10 by root 2, diagonal by 2. It will be that distance. So 10 by root 2 is the distance, that square. So here it will be 10 by root 2 square. So on simplifying this, we have 9 into 10 raised to 9 into 2 into 10 raised to minus 12 divided by 10 means here actually we have to substitute it in meter. So it is 0.1. Okay. So 0.1 square, it is 0.01 into by root 2, no, the square it becomes 2. So it goes to the numerator also. So this is how it comes. So it is 9 into 4, 36. 36 into 10 raised to 9 into 10 raised to minus 12, it is 10 raised to minus 3 into here, or divided by, we will simplify it later. So divided by 10 raised to minus 2. So minus 2 goes to numerator. So it becomes plus 2. So it becomes 36 into 10 raised to minus 1, or it is 3.6 Newton. So the force FOC is 3.6 Newton. Now let's think about FOA. FOA. When we think about FOA, here also the two charges are equal in magnitude, that is 1 and 2. Okay, so same charges and distance involved also is same. So when we find the value, that means magnitude of FOA, we will get the same value, that is 3.6 Newton. That means FOC is equal to 3.6 Newton. That is the same as FOA. FOC and FOA are same. Okay. Now what we need to do is, so FOC and FOA, they are of same magnitude and they are directed opposite in direction. That means they are directed oppositely. So what about their resultant? Resultant of FOC and FOA will be equal to 0. That means vector sum of FOC and FOA will be 0. 0 vector, null vector, because both are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. So the resultant will be equal to 0. So one part is over. Now coming to FOB and FOD. Same way we will find the magnitude of FOB and FOD. Then we will find their sum. So we will find FOD. FOD, magnitude of FOD is equal to, so in all the cases that distance is 10 by root 2, that is the same as 0.1 by root 2. Okay, now coming to this side, so FOD equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. The charges involved are minus 5 and 1, negative sign we considered in direction. So we have 5 into 1 into 10 raised to minus 12 divided by 0.1 by root 2 the whole square. So what we have is 9 into 10 raised to 9 into 5 into 10 raised to minus 12 divided by 0.01 into 2. So 9 into 10, 90. 9. So 9 itself we will take. 9 into 10 raised to it is minus 2 divided by 10 raised to minus 2. So we will get here 9. Okay, so the answer will be 9 Newton, because 9 into 2, 10. 10 raised to minus 11. So 10 raised to minus 2, 10 raised to, okay, 9 Newton we will get. Similarly, if we find FOB, same value you will get, because the charges are same and they are at same distance also. So FOD and FOB are of same magnitude and they are directed oppositely. So the result is, that is FOB, vector FOB plus vector FOD is equal to again 0 vector. the resultant of these two forces also equal to 0. So what is the net force? Net force acting on the charge at the center of the square, it is equal to 0. The net force acting is 0. So that is the answer to that question. Now coming to the next exercise question, that is question 11. The question is like this. A polythene piece rubbed with wool is found to have a negative charge of 3 into 10 raised to minus 7 coulomb. The question has two sub-questions. First one is estimate the number of electrons transferred in bracket from which to which, and second sub-question is there a transfer of mass from wool to polythene. Okay, so this belongs to that frictional electricity problem. So very easy. It's given that wool is found to have a charge, negative charge 3 into 10 raised to minus 7 coulomb. So wool is having a negative charge, means electrons are transferred from polythene to wool. So electrons are transferred from polythene to wool. So wool have additional electrons with it. So there is transfer of mass. We discussed that time itself. There is transfer of mass. So who will be having extra mass? Means more mass it will be having. That means wool will be having. Polythene will have a loss of mass. So how much is that mass difference and all we will find. So first of all we have to estimate the number of electrons transferred. So we know 1 electron's charge is 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb, and that charge is negative. So what will be our equation? It is Q equal to Ne, or N is equal to Q by E. This is what we have to use. So minus 3 into 10 raised to minus 7 divided by 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19. So 1 by 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19, we know that is 6.25 into 10 raised to 18 into. So here one negative is there, negative sign will get cancelled. That into 3 into 10 raised to minus 7 it is. So here we have 6.25 into 3, it is 18.75 into 10 raised to 11. Or it is 1.875 into 10 raised to 12 electrons are getting transferred from polythene to wool. So this is the number of electrons which are transferred. So this is the answer to the first question. Now for finding the second part of the question, we need to multiply the number of electrons transferred with mass of an electron, or mass of electrons transferred is equal to number of electrons into mass of an electron. That is 1.875 into 10 raised to 12. That is the number of electrons transferred into 9.1 into 10 raised to minus 31. So it becomes 1.687 into 10 raised to minus 18 kilograms. So this much is the mass transferred in this process.